your relationship with God. And the reason I say that in terms of your belief in Jesus Christ is if I know where I'm going, and if I firmly believe based on the way that individual led their life that they're in heaven, I'm
Mm.
celebrating because they're in heaven. They're with God now.
Yeah.
That's how I look. Even my father's. It's not easy. It's tough time. There's grieving, there's sadness, but at the same time, I'm celebrating. Like I've already told my wife, and my wife said this to me, is like, when we die, it's going to be a celebration because listen, it's a life well lived. We know where the other individual is going. Yes, is it going to be difficult, but it will makes it easier because you know what? I know where they are. I know where I'm going, and I will see them.
Right. And I will see them again for
Yeah.
eternity. So it brings you hope. It
Yes.
just fills you with joy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's again it's hard, but yeah, we have to make the choice of what do we put our focus on. We
Yeah.
could put our focus on what we didn't do or what we did do, or the time that I had, or what I wish I would have done different. It's just shifting that focus to again the time that we had, and hey, they're in heaven. I'll be in heaven one of these days. We'll live an eternal life together, and that brings us so much joy and happiness in those moments.
Yeah, it makes it easier. It doesn't make it easy because I remember when my father passed away coming up on 19 years ago, early next year. I remember early on where I'd be like, "Oh, something was going on. Oh, I'll call my dad. Oh, I can't call my dad." And it's just like and you those are the things you kind of miss. You miss, but then you turn around and look at it is it's all temporary. This life is temporary. What I'm feeling right now is temporary. And, it's again having that relationship with God, knowing I have his strength to get me through it.
And so I'm sure in those moments you feel pain,
Mm-hmm.
right? So in those moments you just turn to God and fully give it to him.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that you did, like fellowship, getting around other people to help, opening this up, to your wife or friend? Was there anything else that really helped during that time of just grieving and mourning that loss?
Yeah. You brought up a great point is you're around friends and then people who may have experienced that for themselves and how they were able to get through it and some of the different things that they did. And then just have people reach out because I mean, here's the thing early on with any close loss is the first week or so is always busy. There's people around, there's a lot going on. And then all of a sudden it gets really quiet when all of that noise goes away because it will. Because the whole thing about whether it's a funeral or having a memorial service, a wake, whatever it might be, everybody is around and keeps you occupied. And then that suddenly disappears, and it's like, okay, now it's back to reality. And how do you handle that part? So it's having the people around you who check in on you periodically. And that's the big thing too, is I always like to do is not immediately, but also later on check in. Hey, how you doing? Hey,
Mm.
let's get together. Let's go have a cup of coffee, or let's go sit down, have a beer, or hey, let's go out to dinner. Because again, it's just that check in just to see, hey, how you doing? And it's not even so much, hey, are you okay? It's like, hey, what's going on? How are you feeling? How whatever it might be to help that person out.
Yeah. And this brings up something, to me, it's like, and that's, what the enemy wants you to believe is like, seclude yourself, do this alone, don't surround yourself with other people. And in those moments of just being alone, that's when we can trap ourselves in our own minds we just get into those states of depression, sadness, and the enemy wants to keep us there. Because what happens when we get out of that and we start to go out and put ourselves around other godly men and women and we fellowship, that's when we're able to be built up and those individuals can pick us up and encourage us and support us. And that's something the enemy does not want. So the enemy is going to make you believe that it's okay to be secluded. It's okay to be by yourself and do this alone. We're not meant to do this alone.
No. And that's what the enemy wants is to isolate you because when he isolates you, then he's going to get your attention very easy, or at least
Mm.
try to, because the door is open at that moment and can come in with different things and chip away at that little gap. That now gap becomes a little bit bigger because of the isolation.
Now, what if you don't have fellowship? What if you just have, one person? Maybe that's your spouse. Like, what if you just don't have fellowship? You don't have those friends that you can go like hang out with, or you don't have that community. What if?
Well, that's why it's
Obviously, the easy answer is to go find it, but what do you think
yeah.
on that?
I think the importance is you look at church. There's an opportunity for community, and it's not just the
Mm,
one day a week. Everyone
right.
goes on Sunday, and there's the other 6 days or the other days that you can stay connected with a church group. Maybe get into a small group, maybe get into a Bible study, maybe go to the church dinners if they have those once a month, or a men's breakfast, or a women's breakfast, or a women's, but whatever it is, just stay connected in that fellowship, in that community, because that
Yeah.
community, when you go through that type of stuff, they will come around you and support you and
Oh
help
yeah.
you through it. And I've
I,
experienced that. I mean, that's why it's key that God wants us to be in fellowship and be in community. And that's part of it. It's not the only thing, but it's certainly a part of it.
right. Yeah, I've had my experience in different churches over my life. And one thing I know about the church I go to, it's a little bit of a larger church. So they're able to put together those Wednesday night services, Wednesday groups, Thursday morning groups. They have a lot going on every day during the week to give you every single opportunity for fellowship, to build those connections, to establish those relationships. But I've also been to smaller churches before where they just don't say do that. They don't have that. They don't offer it. So even in those moments, one thing I know about church in general, let's say it's a smaller church where they don't have the Wednesday group, Thursday group, where they're not actually, setting these things up. It's you go there and you talk to one of their, an individual that serves or someone that's within the church, and you just say, "Hey, I'm struggling with this.
Mhm.
I need help with this. Can you point me in the right direction? Can you introduce me to someone or a group of someone's that I could start to surround myself with?" They're going to do that. Number one, it's going to take some courage to do that, but they're going to do that. They're going to point you in the right direction. They're going to connect you with the right person. Then from there, we start to notice that's where that fellowship can really start to blossom and really start to grow. But
Yeah.
having the initial courage to say, "Hey, I'm struggling with something and I need some help. And I would love to be able to get help from the men and women here in this church because I won't have it outside the church."
I think you touched on one of the key things is this happens in not all, but many churches where the church doesn't follow up with the individual. They kind of let the ball drop in those areas to follow up and see how
Yes.
somebody's doing. And too often we sit back and wait, like, I want them to come to me. But I sit there and look at it. It's two-sided. Yes, should they or could they? Yeah, absolutely. But
Yeah.
it's also maybe I take the step in this time of need or this time of being lonely, or you're caught up in your thoughts, you're caught up in the event that took place, is being proactive, and you reaching out saying, hey, here's what's going on. I lost so and so within my family. It's really affecting me. Can I talk to someone? Can I go have, would someone be willing to come and have a breakfast with me or something? What, just get the ball rolling on
Mhm. Yeah, you're right. It's two-sided. It is. You got to take that step. They need to take that step, meet halfway. But yeah, don't just sit back and expect, because
it.
the way I look at it too is I've sat back and just expected that a pastor is going to reach out to me based on something I've discussed with them. But I also have to realize there's hundreds and hundreds of men that he's supporting and that he's connecting with. So it's like, every now and then I got to open that door back up because he's a busy man. And I got to look at from his perspective. It's not just me, it's hundreds and hundreds of people within the church that are also asking the same things. Hey, let's go grab a coffee. Let's connect. Can I call you? Can we have a conversation about something? So taking that step forward and being, like we just said.
Yeah, because there's different groups within the church. Okay, you're the pastor who's the head and he leads the flock, but then you also have men's group. You have different ministries within that. There's a hospitality minute. I mean, again, it's all, each church might be a little bit different, but there's knowing and understanding the different ministries in your church and who you can go talk to in these situations is important.
Yeah. And one thing too that's encouraging is we have fellowship here, not
Mhm.
just in these Thursday groups, but reach out to me directly. Y'all have my number, call me, text me, and I'm sure that goes for a lot of guys here. It's like, hey, we have that fellowship, even just outside of these calls and outside of these sessions.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing also, and I'll reiterate this, is, if someone were to reach out, there's no judgment. There's
No,
compassion, there's sympathy, there's empathy, in terms of, okay, what can I do to help you through this? What do you really, and listening to the person. And sometimes they just want to talk. They may not
Yeah.
even want a resolution or a solution to something, but just to be able to speak. And if you can just be encouraging to the person, give the person a word, give a person, a Bible verse that maybe help you through a similar situation. And again, even after that conversation, is to follow up a couple days later. Hey, I just wanted to check in on and see how you're doing. Is there
Yeah.
anything I can do for it? Hey, is there anything I can pray for that you might need right now that we didn't talk about, a few days ago? And it makes all the difference in the world that someone is taking the time because they care. It's no different. We've talked about a number of times. Someone holding a door open.
Mm-hmm.
Smallest thing, but it's showing that, hey, it's polite. Someone who's looking out for me, even in that brief moment. That's what people sometimes are looking for. Just someone looking out for them.
Absolutely. Now, some more advice. I'm seeking some wisdom. I don't have it. It's one of those seasons, one of those days. So let's say in that scenario, losing a loved one, we all have our own, grieving process, mourning process. It looks different for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
The enemy is going to step in and tell you that it's okay to do it alone, that you should do it alone, to seclude yourself, to put you in isolation. That's what the enemy is going to tell you. We know that's a lie. We know that we need to get out there. We need to fellowship. We need to get around other, men and women, friends, godly men and women, to ask for help, support, encouragement, and just be in that environment, fellowship. And that could even start with, like we just discussed, the church, getting into the church and making those connections and reaching out and trying to establish those relationships to get ourselves out of isolation and to put ourselves in those healthier environments. That's going to be the biggest thing, is just getting around other men and women that can help support us and encourage us in those times. And something that we talk about a lot is testimony, the power
Mm-hmm.
of testimony. It's like, hey, maybe that person that you connected with, they're struggling as well. Or maybe they were struggling, they were grieving, they'd lost a loved one as well. And they could share from their point of view, their testimony, what they were able to do to heal, from
Mm-hmm.
that. So, it's like, hey, I'm not going at this alone. And hey, I'm not the only one that's gone through this. This individual has had the same pain that I'm having right now. And that's encouraging. And they can share their testimony with you. So you have just that encouragement, that support that I too can heal from this.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes emotions are very heightened during the
Mm-hmm.
times of losing a loved one. And I know from my own experience, when I lost my grandfather, I was actually 2 days away from moving. I had already moved to Florida back in 2015. And so we had the U-Haul logistics taken care of. We were set to sign the lease, and it was definitive. It was set in stone. And unfortunately, a couple of weeks leading up to that, my grandfather gets really sick. We bring hospice in. They say that he's passing. And he passed away on December 24th, 2025, so Christmas Eve. And I was set to get in that U-Haul and drive on the 26th. And so in that moment, with emotions being heightened, that really upset my mom. My mom needed somebody. My mom didn't really have anybody at that time. My mom and stepdad weren't really together. My brother was still pretty young at that point in time. And my mom just didn't really have a support system. She didn't have anybody there to comfort her. I mean, yeah, on the 25th, and then I was gone on the 26th, and that created some anger, right? Like, from her perspective, she was angry that I just left, that I wasn't there to be with her. There was some anger, and I carried this guilt for the longest time, like the regret of not being there for her, the guilt of not being more present with my grandfather in his last days. I carried that guilt. What advice would you have? What wisdom would you have, both sides, from someone that could be holding on to some guilt based on what happened during that time, or maybe even some maybe anger that hasn't been fully released or let go, and that could be consuming us, as well?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the holding on to any of that is, again, it's unique to each individual We just trying to pull something up real quick that might be helpful.
And from my perspective, that was something that just it brewed for a really, really, really long time. And so with my mom and I had to ask for forgiveness. I did. I was like, Mom, I really desire and seek your forgiveness. I understand that in that moment, I didn't make the best decisions. Um, and I know how that hurts you. I know how it hurts you. And for that, I am so sorry. And I'm just begging and pleading for your forgiveness because I do not want that anger to separate us. I want a relationship with you. I want to be close with you. I don't want to go months and months and months without talking or only get some texts on the holidays. And I knew that's what was separating our relationship was the anger that was there that hadn't yet been resolved, but I needed to step in and say, I am beyond sorry. And I just expressed that. And just like, I just want you to forgive me for the mistake that I made and be able to move forward from that and continue to work and strengthen our relationship because my grandpa would want. That's what he would do.
Because here's the thing. Here's the way I see that event is at that time, your mom was experiencing two losses.
Yeah.
The loss of, your grandfather. And then a day later, you're leaving. Now you're not really a loss, but you're moving away. So there's now a gap in that part of her life. So I don't think she's necessarily angry at you. I think she get angry at the situation just because of the timing and just what was going on. So it just complicated things more. It created, additional sorrow. Again, not to your fault, because obviously that was already planned. It's not like you turn around and say, "Oh, by the way, I'm moving tomorrow." That was not planned. Doesn't make it easier for the other individual, but time heals all wounds. You've done the right thing, because you look at, you did that. You confessed to your mom. You said, "I'm sorry." You've asked for her forgiveness. Has she forgiven you?
Yes.
Okay, that's tremendous.
And I've forgiven her for, just that separation of relationship because I wanted it. I tried, but she never reciprocated that to me because she was holding on to some of that anger. Now you made that clear. Maybe it wasn't anger at me, but anger at the situation.
Yeah.
So I've also forgiven her for just that separation of years of just not being close and not really having the relationship I would want to have with my mom.
Yeah.
So it's mutual.
So I think it's both sides of that. It's too. She was already dealing with you leaving. That was already planned. She knew that well in advance that you were heading out the door after Christmas. But then, like you said, to your grandfather was sudden. So it wasn't like, it was something that you knew was going to happen prior to. It was sudden. It happened at a really fast. And so now she's dealing with both at the exact same time. That's tough. That's tough. So I don't think I think she was angry at the situation more than the people. And I think, because here's what happens. We do, who do we lash out the most to? The people that are closest to us.
Right.
Because they'll be more understanding. And that's just what we do. We tend to lash out to those we love, the ones that are closest to us. And that's what happened with you. Doesn't no right or wrong. It's just what happened. But the fact that you apologized and she accepted, that's huge.
Yeah, and I forgave first. I apologized. I forgave. I explained why I'm forgiving. And that's what really opened that door back up for her, not in that very moment, probably a couple of weeks later to say, you know what, I forgive you too. And you're right. Grandpa would want us to have a really strong, healthy relationship.
Yeah.
But I had to take that step. I had to have some courage to do so and set my pride and ego aside to do that. It was tough.
Absolutely. And then even from your mom's standpoint is like, okay, I've got to let this go. You're absolutely right. That's what your grandfather would want. Here's what I need to do. I need to do the same thing. And, it probably took her a little time because she still had feelings from the past, but it's like, no, it's time to put it behind. If Josh can do this, I can do this as well. So, I mean,
amen to that.
And it's just again, God creates opportunities for us to move and to set an example. And you were able to do that for your mom, because if you didn't do that, I mean, could you be in that same situation today? Maybe.
Probably.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows?
And then that's just wasted time. So, but wasn't easy for you, wasn't easy for your mom, but you both did it. And look where your relationship is today.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's great.
There you go. But it's always, listen, it's always darkest before dawn.
Mm.
And you turn around, look, I was outside this morning at 4:45 this morning. It was pretty
dark
dark out
outside.
there. It was cold and dark. But I looked around. I'll tell you what, I sat there. The neighborhood was quiet, bright full moon this morning. And I sat there like, man, God, look what you've given me this morning. What an opportunity. Just listening to the peace. It's awesome. And so, again, it's right before, but I know dawn is coming. I know it's going to be there. At that moment, I just didn't know, okay, when is sunrise? I have a rough time, but the same thing in any moment, right? It's always dark before the dawn. I mean, it's easy to say that, but what are we doing to get ourselves closer to dawn? Are we continuing to dwell on our circumstances? Are we trying to do it on our own? Are we doing it alone? Or do we involve God? Do we bring other people in that we're surrounding ourselves with that can help us get through it?
Yeah. We can ask God to help us see the light in the darkness during those dark times, help us see the light, his presence to be with us, for him to give us his strength to be able to make the choice to really focus on the good moments, the great memories, the great experiences that we've had with our loved one, versus putting our focus on the regret. And I carried a lot of regrets for a very long time. And it wasn't until I chose in a moment to put my focus on the good moments, the time that we had together, knowing that's what he would want me to focus on as well.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I choose to focus on, are those great moments, all the memories I have with him. And it just fills me with love and happiness and joy, and puts a smile on my face because I choose. It was hard, but now it's easier to choose to focus on those moments, knowing that's what he would want me to do. And like you mentioned earlier, it's like, one of these days, I'll be with them. I'll be with them.
Okay. So here's a couple Bible verses. Matthew 5:4. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Psalm 34:18. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. And then something you just touched on, which is a verse I just looked up, is Revelation 21, verse 4. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away, which is basically Revelation talking about the new heaven and the new earth, which is Jesus Christ. Because there was the old order with that we always in the old days, in the Old Testament, you had to go through someone to get to God. Well,
right.
Jesus dies and rises from the dead. The curtain was torn, which now opened up that I can have a direct relationship with God, that I don't need a go-between. Jesus died so I can have that. Jesus died so I have the gift, and that's what that is, a gift to be in heaven forever. I just have to accept that gift.
Yeah.
And it's a decision. That's the beauty part. You look at free will, because you go back and look at Adam and Eve in heaven, or Adam and Eve in the garden, and they ate the forbidden fruit. So people are like, well, why would God create a garden like that, already knowing that man was going to sin, that he was going to separate man from himself, because that sin, they were told not to eat the forbidden fruit. But that happened for a reason, because with free will,
if he did the serpent in the garden, then that takes away free will. I mean, those choices
takes away free will, but then it also takes away, and the key component is love. So God was able to show love by giving us his son, by allowing us to be able to go into heaven, but a free will to choose the direction I want to go in, to choose what kind of relationships I want to have. Do I want to keep my distance, arm's length from God, or do I want to be right there with God? Do I want to think I can lead God, or do I want to allow God to lead me? And that's the component of key component of free will. And that's why you look at the garden, those things happen. So we have the free will, and that love can be shown, and we can follow love, and we can make the decisions, and God, because God's not going to force himself on us.
Powerfully said.
So getting back to what the original topic was in terms of mourning, it's just different. It's going to be different for everybody. But there are resources and sources to help individuals through that. And it's going to be different depending on the individual in your life. If you're really close to someone, it's going to be, tougher. But I also look at where I was like my father again, is when that happened, I was looking back on my memories of my dad. So I always had a good relationship with him. I missed the heck out of him. Like I was saying before, most people jumped on, is I remember in the first couple of years, I'm like, oh, there's something going on. Oh, I need to call my dad. Oh, he's not there. And I'm like, oh, that was crushing. But at the same time, I can go back and in my mind, in my memories, relive those moments, and then go back and like, you know what, this is what my dad would have said. This is exactly what my dad would have told me. And he put that legacy in motion. And now I can follow that legacy in the way I live my life, to be able to follow the example that he set, the positive example he set.
I love that. Sorry, that bee's coming at me again. It's a big one. It's a Boeing 727 right there.
Incoming.
Incoming. That's well said, powerfully said. So thank you so much for sharing that, bestowing that wisdom upon me and everybody else here. That was powerful.
But that's the
Corey, iPhone, Jake, Kevin. I was just trying to get them to open the mics now. What were you
Yeah, absolutely. No, I was saying the whole topic, iron sharpens iron. That's what this is all about. Is sharing different experiences. And that's what a testimony is. Testimony is meant to be encouraging. It's to me, I look at a testimony as I'm showing off what God's been doing for me. And I don't mean that in the earthly standpoint, but just talking about, hey, this is what God's done for me. Here's what he helped me get through. He can help you, but let me help you and come alongside you and bring you through this together.
I'm just fully trusting in him in those moments.
God's going to give you the strength. And again, that's where the testimonies come in, because if people have gone through similar situations, and hey, how did God work in your life when you were going through this? What was he able to do for you? What did you do to get closer to God, to get that experience, to have him, give you the strength and the wisdom to be able to cope and get through it? Sometimes just having someone come around you.
Yeah. And in those moments, he's going to comfort you. He's going to bring you peace.
And he's going to position people. He'll position people in your life to help you through. Now, it may not be like right now. It can be, but it might be, again, to allow you to grow and, prosper from that, and gain from the experience. Because, sometimes, we've talked about this. God will break you down before he builds you up again. He breaks you down before the blessing comes. And not that you sit there and look at it, oh, the loss of my father was a blessing. I would never look at it that way. But I look at what he was in my life as a tremendous blessing. And then, what I sit there and look at my father. My father wouldn't want me sitting around. Don't cry for me. I'm in a good place. Don't worry about me. I'm good. I'm worried more about you than, you should be worrying about me. But just, continue to, the example I set, continue with that example that I set. And that's how we can do that, is yes, we can mourn them. Absolutely. I've done it. I mean, there was times I just broke down in the middle of nowhere. I mean, my kids gave me like a Father's Day gift. It was like vivid memories of my father taking me to a Mets game. I remember my first Mets game. I remember sitting on my daughter's bed Father's Day. They bring in the Father's Day gift, and it was tickets to a Mets game on Father's Day. I lost it. I lost it because it meant so much. And my kid, I'm feeling right now, because you just sit there and look at different memories, how you can experience the way that person did things with you, that you can do that with your own family, with other people. It's just that's how you honor someone and honor their legacy, is just repeating the things that they did that were a positive influence on your life.
Absolutely.
And I said, I'm almost starting to cry right now.
And that brings us to thinking of those great moments, the times that we had with them, and all the memories we made.
Absolutely. Oh, it's fun because they were good times. And listen,
Oh,
it's not saying
absolutely.
it's easy, because there was time my dad whooped my ass because I did
Oh, yeah.
something wrong. I didn't like it back then, but you know what? I only remember those things because they set the example on the way I should be conducting myself
Hmm.
as a son, as a brother, as a man, whatever it might be. And that's what, again, he broke me down to be built back up again, just like our
And
heavenly Father.
God, I was going to say that, and God will break us down to build us up, to mold us into the person we need to be to step into our true calling. He will do that.
Amen. Amen. So yeah, other people jump in, please.
Yeah. Devin, Jake, you have to say hello at least. Remember, I told you, you got to say hello. You wanted me to do that for you?
Yeah, yeah.
Hello.
Hey guys.
What's up, buddy?
I did kind of. I was thinking about our talk, so I appreciate you bringing this up today. Um, because I know that one of my problems that I'm having is, um, I kind of lost my way, um, with my faith when my dad died. Um, but part of my problem with that was I didn't understand why I was put in a position to take him off of life support. And I've been mad at God for that. Sorry, guys. Just trying to keep it together.
Oh,
You're okay.
listen, that's keeping it real. And I understand that totally, because my wife and I, we've been put in that situation like with her mom. And that's not easy. It's not. But yeah, nothing to apologize for. Continue.
I know that was because I did. I just kind of lost my faith. Um, I was mad at God because I thought I thought it was up to him to decide that, and I was so mad because I was put in a position where it was, does he continue to stay on a machine that keeps him alive, or do I let him go? And just I'm struggling working through that. I don't know if anybody's got anything on that to help me out, but that's that's my problem. That's why I fell off. I wasn't. I just gave up on everything. 4 years.
Well,
And I'm glad that we started this because I'm trying, but I keep getting hung up on why I had to make that decision. And it
the
wasn't.
decision to take him off of life support, is that what you're saying? I mean, here's two things I'll share. One is, it's okay to be angry with God. You know what? God can take it. He knows where our heart is. He knows that we're hurting. He knows we're upset. It's a tough thing for us to deal with. He gets that. So there's times I'll get angry with him because you know what? That's just, listen, he made me. He made me in the image and likeness of himself. So he knows how I'm going to react to different things. And it's okay, but it's also what you do with it. Does it carry into other things and I'm a violent person as a result? No, that doesn't make it okay. But you know what? He can take it. And then the other thing too is you're looking at is like, oh, take him off of life support. God, it was your father's time. God was calling him home for whatever reason we don't understand now, but one day we will understand, and we will know the answers to different things, and we'll have our time too. I don't. Could it be in an hour from now, or could it be 25 years from now? I don't know. All I can do is live each day, be thankful for each day, and just appreciate every time that I wake up in the morning. Be like, you know what, God, thank you for another day. Whatever you have for me today, I will overcome and deal with your strength, with your wisdom, with your love. It may not be easy, but it's easier because he's going to help me through it. And I've heard a lot of stories of people losing their relationship with God, losing their faith as of, because of these type of events, whether it's a parent or a child, God forbid, and leaving there, just walking away from it. But God's going to see you through it. If you put your faith and trust in God, he will see you through this. He's there for you. We just have to turn in the right direction to accept that. And again, to have that free will, and God will shower his love on us.
And that's going to happen. We're going to lose faith at times. We're going to be in those seasons of just not feeling close to God, near to God, in a relationship with God. I found myself in a lot of those seasons, and I always go back to the verse that says the righteous will fall 7 times. So I've had those falling backs where I'm just like, God, why have you forsaken me? I feel like David, in Psalm 22, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me? When I cry out to you, you're not there. And I feel like, why? And I'm angry. But I also know that in those seasons and those moments, my faith is refined. My faith is strengthened from experience. I draw even nearer to God, and I start to find peace in that. Sorry, guys, that Boeing 727 is back. Good day.
So, I mean, you've had a relationship with God in the past, Jake, correct?
Yes.
And again, I'm not making this sound easy because I know it's tough. It's start with something small. Do you pray each day, or do you pray?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. So I would certainly continue with that. Have you asked God for anything? Have you asked him for strength to help you through this, to get back into having a relationship, a more consistent relationship with God? Because what God's looking for is for us to pursue him. And again, it comes back to what we were talking about earlier, it's free will. I mean, here's an example I will use. You look at what's going on in schools the last number of, 10, 20 years. We started taking God out of schools. We started taking prayer out of schools. God started being removed from schools. God's not going to go where he's not welcome. But you remove God, what does that open up? Something has to take up that space. So it's a matter of, from your standpoint, is what do you want to fill that space with, where you had a relationship with God? You're praying with him, so you still have a relationship. It's just a matter of how deep are you pushing that relationship with God? Are you allowing him to participate in your life, sharing that? Even though, listen, God knows everything, but I will sit there and share with God, hey, God, just, like when I would pray for something and I got an answer, hey, God, did you see that sale I closed? Hey, God, did you see this that happened? He knows, but he just wants to experience that. Like I share stuff with my wife. She knows stuff has already happened, but it makes a difference when I share it with her as opposed to her saying something about the experience. So I will be praying for you.
Yes.
For this, and that you get back to the relationship that you want with God, and that will continue to be strengthened by people being placed in your life that can help you. It could be someone in this group. It could be just conversations like this we're having, conversations that we have during the trading day. We get into conversations about God all the time. And it could be something as simple as that. God will give you answers in a lot of different forms. We just don't always know what that form might be. But the key part is asking, because that's what God wants. God wants us to ask. God wants our heart.
Thanks for sharing that, Jake. That was it was tough. Thank you for sharing. If I could add, and I don't know, it's not a rush. You don't have to rush your relationship with God. You know, you're allowed to be angry, and go through the emotions and things you have to go through. The fact that you're here and this group is here and came across your path, and you know that says a lot in itself. So there's no rush. Just take your time and do what you got to do. And you know, I don't know how accurate or true this is, but I'm sure you had to make the decision, you know, because you're strong enough to, you know, and
A good point.
as tough as the decision that was, you were the one that had to
That is
make
a
it.
good point.
Mm-hmm.
God knew you were strong enough and bestowed that decision to you, knowing that you were strong to do that. And I look at it too as being in seasons. You know, sometimes we don't know why God's doing what he's doing. Been angry with God before, and I just don't know why God is doing what he's doing. And I'm mad, I'm angry. And I just, why? And I know from my own experience, the closer I draw near to God, the more that I just try and trust. He tends to reveal himself. Like Tom's analogy with the storm, when you're in the middle of the storm, you can't see the end of it, but you know it'll pass, right? And so like I just know from my own experience, it's hard. Like just building that relationship with him, trusting that some point, maybe someday in the future, he'll reveal why you made that decision, why, you know, he called you to do that. Obviously, like Kevin said, great point is you were strong to do that. So I would just continue to encourage you to continue to strengthen your relationship with God. Ask him to reveal, ask him to answer that question. It may not be today, tomorrow, next week, but I do believe, I do have hope, and I do trust that God will make that known. And at some point, you'll be able to look back and say, that makes sense. I understand.
Well, here's a verse that comes to mind. Psalm 13, which is a really short chapter. It's six verses. So it says, how long, Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I wrestle with my thoughts and day after day have sorrow in my heart? How long will my enemy triumph over me? Look on me and answer, Lord my God. Give light to my eyes, or I will sleep in death. And my enemy will say, I have overcome him, and my foes will rejoice when I fall. But I trust in your unfailing love. My heart rejoices in your salvation. I will sing the Lord's praise, for he has been good to me.
And that's David writing the Psalms, right?
That's right in Psalms. It's Psalm 13.
And we see it's like there's anger, there's that why, but we also see desperation. We seek to know the desperation to draw near and to have hope and trust in the Lord.
Yeah,
Even when it's hard.
Yeah, it's one thing to be angry. It's also sinful anger, which is very different. So you could be upset about what took place. Absolutely, God can take it. But at the same time is looking as, okay, God, how can you strengthen me? How can you help me through this? What do I need to do? And just, get into his word, because, the Bible is our handbook. And that's the neat thing. I said, there isn't anything that's happened in my life that I can't find it, that I haven't found an answer in the Bible to. Doesn't matter the situation.
The answers are there. Yeah.
There. And I'll share this early on. shortly after I got saved. I was going through something. I'm like, God, just give me an answer. I don't know what to do. And he gave me Leviticus. Now, there's no way I'm picking Leviticus as a verse to read.
Right.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Psalms, something like that. Leviticus, which is a really tough part of the Bible to read. And I never really dug into it. But I went there, I think it was Leviticus 14, if I remember correctly. I read that. My answer was there. It was clear as day. I was like, wow, it blew me away because I'm like, because I knew that couldn't be me picking the verse because I never would have picked that book and that chapter. But God showed it to me, and boom, there it was. And I was like, wow, that gave me such encouragement, such faith and strength, and knowing that, you know what? God will reveal his answer when it's part of his plan, when it's that time and the time is correct.
That he's listening and he will answer, like you said, in his time when it's correct. And even having that experience, you know, God's listening. Like last week, I was praying, like, what does it look like to fully submit, to fully trust in you, like to become more obedient? What do I need to do, God? Because I don't feel like I'm doing enough. And so in the back of my head, I keep hearing Malachi. I'm like, what's going on, Malachi? It's not even a book of the Bible. It is. In that moment, I'm like, it's not even a book of the Bible. What's going on? And I just kept hearing Malachi. Like, this is weird, man. Like, whatever. So I open up my Bible and I'm literally going through the beginning of it. And I'm like reading. I'm like, see, there's not a book called Malachi, dude. Get out of your own head, Josh. Listen. And then literally I see Malachi. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So in that moment, praying and hearing that, I'm like, that's not even a book in the Bible. And then I see it is, and I'm like, all right, shit. So I open it up.
Now you got my attention.
Now you got my attention. And guess what it was talking about in the book of Malachi? Fully trusting in God, being obedient to God, and tithing. About tithing. And that's something I've been withholding a lot lately due to my own financial, things that I shared with you guys last week. And it was, to sum it up, the book of Malachi was like, just trust. Trust. Give your offering, tithe, and fully give that from your heart. Just give it. Challenge. And it even said, like, test me and I will show you that I am there with you. I will bless you. I was like, whoa. I was like, my prayer was, how can I be more obedient? How do I fully surrender and trust in you? It's like, hey, give your first fruits. Always. That's how you trust me. And it spoke to me, man. It's just having those experiences, God is listening, God is with you, and he will reveal himself to you. May not be in that very moment, but I've noticed that sometimes 6 months later, he starts to reveal himself and why I was going through that season all along. The 6 months, I had no idea why. And I'm like, God, why are you doing this to me? But then, 6 months later, like, oh, I understand that now. I see. And it allows us to fully trust in him even more.
Well, I'll ask you this question. If he revealed that to you 9, 12 months ago, how would that have been for you back then as opposed to when he did?
Yeah, I mean, I've shared this testimony in some of the podcasts. I wouldn't have been ready. I would have destroyed myself. I would have fallen apart. I probably would have been, I know it would have been even less dependent on God. I don't think my faith would have been strengthened. I don't think I would have had a deeper relationship with him to give him everything. I honestly probably would have just kind of not fallen back in my old ways, but I wouldn't have been as close, as dependent on God on a consistent daily basis. And my faith would not be as strong as it is today. So and I would have destroyed myself.
So God's plan was better than your plan.
Absolutely. But in the moment, I didn't know why I was struggling, why I was filled with anger and doubt. And I don't even want to dive into the word because, like, you're not even listening, God. I felt like David, like, why have you forsaken me? Like, I'm crying out. I need your help. Why do I not sense your presence? Like, why are you not helping me during these tough times? And I had those seasons. I shared them with you. I'm like, Tom, I'm just not in a good headspace, man. I'm struggling with stuff right now. And I'm just like, that's how I'm feeling. I'm not happy. I'm just blacked out. I'm depressed. I'm struggling mentally. So I had those seasons. I had those doubts, and I went those days and weeks where I'm not even in the Bible. Some kept pulling me back, man. Just kept pulling me back, and I just kept diving into it. And then I see how God's revealing himself, not on that exact thing, but in other areas of life. And I just like, you know what? I know there's a reason. I had to keep hope, and just me even being in the Bible and praying, it gave me hope that I know that, hey, he's gonna, I'm gonna get through the season. I know it's temporary, and then I'll understand. And in that moment, it encouraged me. I was no longer fearful. I was no longer in my own head. It was more encouraging of, it's temporary. I'll get through this, and eventually I'll know why this happened. And the encouragement part is I'll see some growth from this. I'll benefit from this, regardless of how long it takes. And again, easier said than done. But in those moments, just fully trusting God will bring you that hope and encouragement of, there's something to learn from this. I can grow from this, and I'll eventually see why it happened the way it happened. And then when it comes to fruition, you look back, you're like, oh, now I see God, not really the path I asked for. Or I wish we could do it differently next time. But it just allows you to trust him even further and truly know deep in your heart that it's God's will, not yours. His timing, not yours. He knows, not you. And in those seasons, it still provides you with peace, hope, encouragement that it is God's perfect plan. It is in his timing. You do fully trust in him, knowing that he's not going to forsake you.
I mean, for those of you that are parents out there, we know what's best for our kids. They don't like it at the time. They don't understand it. But now, like when my kids are now adults, they got it. They understood it. They know why. At the time they did, they want what they want. And that's it. The same thing when we pray to God. We want it now. We want it now. And God knows when the appropriate time is. Sometimes it is now in the moment because you're ready for it. Other times it might be, for me, there was a couple of years I went through, and I'm glad, wasn't happy with it at the time to go through it, but I understood after I got the blessing, I understood why I needed to wait. Because then I had a much greater appreciation for the blessing, had a different growth path than if I got it right then and there. Because I would truly was not, I would not have been ready for it at that time. 100%, no doubt in my mind, after I had gone through that whole process. And I had to be broken down for God to build me back up, for me to put my full faith in trusting God, to use God's strength and not my strength to get through that. And it was a tough journey.
And we look back, but we see the growth from it. It was tough. In that moment, it's tough. We wouldn't want to relive it. I know I wouldn't want to relive the last 6 to 9 months. But if I have to, I know there's a reason. It's for my own benefit. It's for the glory of God. And that brings me hope and comfort in those moments. Persevere, to keep fighting the good fight.
Yeah. And there's one thing it's interesting because my wife pointed it out to me. I didn't even realize I had said it. My wife was going through something, really tough thing she was going through. I said to my wife, I go, you know what, Lisa? It's temporary. And that has stuck with her since that moment. And she says that's what helped her through it, because it was temporary. And I'm like, yeah, listen, everything is temporary. Temporary could be a day. Temporary might be 6 months. It's still temporary. But that's how I look at everything right now. I'm like, okay, it's temporary. I remember like we had a tough time with my son when he turned 17. He didn't want anything to do with authority. I don't care what level of authority it was. He wanted no part. He gave us a run for our money. And I remember when he turned 18, I'm like, oh, great. He's at the age of maturity, ready to go. And then my pastor turned around and said, oh, the frontal cortex of a male doesn't fully develop till 25. I'm like, 7 more years of this? I'm like,
what?
Are you kidding me? But I remember like it happened yesterday when he was probably 17, 18. I was a desperate prayer to God. God, I don't know what to do. You've got to help. Things we say to him is not working. I remember clearly God telling me, he goes, I got him. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, okay, I have my full faith and trust in you. Now I have, I don't worry. I have concerns at times over that period, but I never really worried because I knew God had it. And I'm watching now as God's bringing him through, because he had a relationship with God. As a teenager, he was leading Bible studies.
Oh, wow.
And something flipped the switch and he did a 180. It's like, I remember a conversation around vacation. He's like, I don't believe in God. And now he's coming back and God's softening his heart again. He's in the Word. My wife just went to visit him about a month ago. And before he went down there, he goes, Mom, bring your Bible. I have lots of questions in Romans. And my wife
love it.
She goes like, do you mind if we do that? And my wife's like, you don't even have to ask.
Yeah.
But again, because I'm like, God got him. God had to bring him through whatever he's continuing to bring him through. And it wasn't going to be in my time. But when God turned around and told me I got him, you know what? God never goes back on a promise.
No, he does not.
And that's what I've lived to live by. And it's like, what a feeling that was when I just gave it to him. And he's like, I got him. And I'm like, whoo. I mean, the weight that was lifted was tremendous. But I had to go through that experience to get me to finally have that desperation to be like, God, I can't do it. I need your help. Give me the guidance. And when he did, it was like, and it was in the moment too. I was like, whoo. It was awesome. Doesn't mean it was still easy through the whole process. He still did the things that he did and the disrespect and everything like that. But the fact of the matter is that I'm like, you know what? Regardless, I got him. And the neat part about it is and my wife and I have a testimony that we've shared with other parents of young men that have gone through similar. And I'm like, you know what? This is what our journey was. Here's how God got us through. It's not easy, but God will see you through it.
You'll get through it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the same holds true for any situation. Now, do we get the answer? Sometimes we won't get the answer. Sometimes the answer is it's just not going to happen for whatever reason, but doesn't mean to give up on putting your faith and trust in God, because he'll see you through. And maybe the answer doesn't come until multiple years down the road. We don't know.
Yeah.
It's in God's
We don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, I've already heard testimonies in this group of things that are taking place in people's lives, and it's awesome to listen to. Man,
it's powerful.
Fun. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I'll tell you what, it's better than hearing someone making $1,000 on a stock trade.
Yes, it is. It is so much better. 100%. So Jake, man, this just kind of sitting on my heart, man, just like maybe a prayer to God, like just open up, man. Like, God, I've been angry. Like, I've been angry and I have been so not as close to you as I've wanted to be. And I want you to deliver me from this anger, God. I want that relationship with you. I want to deepen my relationship with you. I want to fully surrender you and I want to fully trust you. Just show me what that looks like, right? Sorry for being angry. Just please let me overcome this anger. Deliver me from it, God, and just show me what it looks like to heal from this, to have that stronger relationship with you, to strengthen my faith, to trust you fully. Show me what that looks like.
That's good.
Just open up.
Ooh, that's good. Good words.
Not mine. Those were downloaded in the moment. I just felt it.
I can see that. That's awesome. And again, you can get desperate with God. It's okay.
I've been pretty desperate with God lately. I will tell you that. Pleading, begging. I'm desperate. Like, just show me. And he does. Again, not everything in the moment, but dude, a lot of these just insane, supernatural, divine interventions of God just revealing himself clear as day, so often, so consistently lately. Opening my Bible to Malachi after a prayer and seeing, hey, God shutting that door on the set. Just everything I've shared with you guys over the past couple of weeks, it's been constant. It's been happening so much. I'm like, what's going on? I've never, ever experienced this before in my life. And I look, it's like, why now? Well, dude, I'm giving everything to him. That's the only thing that's changed. I'm like, I can't do it on my own. I need your help. Fully surrendering, being obedient, trusting in him, diving into the word every single day with intention to learn, to grow, to strengthen. And it's like, that's the only thing that's changed is the posture of my heart. It's no longer like, okay, I'm just going to read the Bible to read it. It's like, no, I want to be in the word. I want to learn. How do I improve my life? Like, how do I stop living that lukewarm life and be 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but be all in, fully in? What does that look like? How do I need to live my life? How do I let you lead my life? And it's a different posture of my heart. And that's the only thing that's changed. And like, just God is like, okay, here I am. He's answering prayers. He's revealing himself. He's making himself known. It's clear, you know. I still have my off days, my not so great days, but you know, it's like I know what to do in those moments.
And
Just
that's
turn to God in
encouraging.
those moments.
That's encouraging what you said, because you heard God, because you didn't even know Malachi was a book in the Bible.
I was like, what's Malachi? I've never heard of that book name before. Like,
Yeah. So the fact that it happened in that way is knowing that that was God and not you or anybody
oh,
else.
most
And,
definitely.
and you clearly heard him, and then you finally look at it like, oh, I didn't even know that was a book. And then you read it like, that was the answer.
And it's right there. Tithe, be obedient, give, knowing that God's with you, trust him. And I'm like, my God, that was my prayer too. How do I be more obedient to you, fully trust you? And it's just like, it was right there. And I'm like, ah. And that's something I've been withholding lately is cheerfully giving. Not just doing it like, oh, I gotta do it because that's what the Bible instructs me to do. But I know God'll bless me. It's not like cheerful. It's not like I want. It's like I have to. And so with being tight financially, not want to pull out of investment accounts and stuff, that's one of the things that, I've kind of tightened up on. And so it's like, that's something I was like, yeah, that's okay. I see that, God. It's crazy that you say that book to my name. I opened it up. It's about that. And I'm like, that is one thing that I know I have been withholding.
Yeah. Well, the Bible verse to just that is 2 Corinthians 9:7. Each of you should give what you have decided in your heart to give, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver.
I haven't been very cheerful.
We all have our moments.
Yeah. But it's just a crazy experience. And the only reason I had that crazy experience of God just clearly making himself known in that moment, and multiple times where it's a pattern, it's not a coincidence, it's God. The only reason I can share that with you guys is because I am just giving everything to him every single day. And really, truly putting God front and center in my life. From the moment I wake up to how I'm talking to my kids, to the conversations I have with my wife, to the conversations we have here in a trading group, on my social media platforms, in the podcast, sharing posts. It's like everything I do is like to glorify God. That's all I know what to do. Honestly, in these seasons, it's like I don't know what to do. I just know to keep glorifying God, and that's it.
Amen.
It wasn't until I fully surrendered and fully let him lead. Now he's really revealing himself and letting himself be known. So if you never really fully surrendered, like I know what that feels like from not really fully surrendering to fully. If you feel like, yeah, I don't feel like I've fully surrendered, I still try and do things on my own based on my own understanding, I can attest to that. It's like, hey, ask God to show you what that looks like to just fully surrender, give it to him.
Yeah.
And he will. He showed me.
Yeah. I saw Corey had turned his mic on. I don't know if Corey was looking to jump in.
Oh no, I'm just listening. I just finally been hearing bits and pieces of everything, so I'm just trying to get caught up. What's all been talked about experience, so I'm just processing everything before I actually speak. So
Fair enough. Just didn't want to ignore you. I saw you popped on. I'm like, I want to make sure that if you did want to say something, that you had the opportunity to do so.
oh, you're good. Appreciate it though, Tom.
Absolutely. Anybody else?
I mean, it's a different change of topic, but there's something going through at the moment. I don't know what happened, but just the other morning we were trying to get out the door, and I don't know if I breathed wrong or what, but it's been not literally chaos, but it's been a hot house for the past 2 days because I just something that I apparently did without realizing ticked my wife off, and I'm kind of stuck in a temporary season of not knowing what to do because I don't see what I did to been accused of something that I know I didn't do.
I can hit on this. Yeah, continue. But yeah, I could resonate.
Like I got told, like, look, I don't appreciate being accused of something that I know I didn't do. I'm always helpful in the mornings. I never complain about anything, but apparently I breathed wrong, and it's been a hot house for the past 2 days, and I don't know where to go because I'm trying not to lead with anger and just have a lock and loaded mouth ready to fire. So, which is something I've worked on heavily, and I just don't know where to go from here to stop this and fix it in a way.
A couple things that I can say on this, just briefly. I know Tom's got lots of stuff to share, and everybody else, but here's what I know from my own experiences. Pride, number one. Usually the reason why I would be in a hot house, for example, or there would be some tension with my wife is pride. I know I didn't do anything wrong, so I'm not going to apologize for it. That was kind of my mindset. It's pride.
Yep.
But what does God reveal about marriage? What does God in Ephesians 5 tell us to do? We submit to our wives. Our wives submit to your husband. So we're submissive towards one another. We're one flesh. So even and before the creation and all that, I learned this today. Pride was like the first sin. Like, Satan was prideful, right? You go back to the story, it's like, that was like essentially like the first sin was like pride. Like Satan was prideful. He wanted to be worshiped, not worship. He wanted control, not to be controlled. Like he was prideful. So that was kind of like the first sin that entered, if you think about it, was pride. And we know the Bible talks a lot about pride. God doesn't like prideful. Like he humbles the pride, but he blesses the humble. I'm butchering that. So long story short, it's like we know pride is not from God, that's from the enemy. We know that God does not like pride. We're called to submit to our wives. Our wives are called to submit to us. So the first thing we have to do is recognize this is just pride. Okay? It's not godly, it's just pride. So I need to set that pride aside. Okay, I know I didn't do anything wrong, but what do I need to do? I need to apologize, ask for forgiveness. And the only way I'm able to do that is if I remove pride from clouding my judgment. I think I hit a soft spot.
No,
I'm kidding. No, I think he lost connection.
Oh,
There he
he's
is.
back.
I think that was Corey's way of saying, quit talking about pride. But no, that's the only thing that really, and I'm going to send this podcast to you, Corey, because I was actually listening to a podcast like I do every morning with Josh Howerton. And so the podcast today was actually on how to kill the sin of pride. And he specifically talked about stuff like this, where it's like, there could be some tension between you and the wife. She could be holding on to something. You knew you didn't do anything wrong. And in those moments, it's easier to just, I'm not going to say I'm sorry, right? I didn't do anything wrong. It's easy to do that. But we're called to set that aside, let that go, and just, hey, I'm sorry. Please forgive me, even if we don't feel like it, because that's going to squash that pretty much immediately. It actually happened with my wife this morning, and it took a lot. Where it's like we just kind of got into a little heated discussion, then it turned into an argument. And I knew I wasn't in the wrong. I don't think I was in the wrong, but I love my wife. And it's like, hey, I'm sorry. Back in my mind, it's like, I don't feel like I did anything wrong, but I'm like, that doesn't matter. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I did that upset you. Because her emotion is her emotion, and some of those emotions are valid. Most of them are. But it's like, hey, if I made you feel a type of way, even if I don't think I did anything wrong, I'm going to set that pride and ego aside and say, I'm sorry. And I hope you forgive me. And I'm going to take this as an opportunity to grow and learn from this.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. I mean, I've done good about apologizing for things that I know I did wrong. It's just that one factor of I don't view it as anything I've done wrong. And it was a stressful morning to try and get everything out the door, and don't know what happened. And there's that disconnect. Like, I wish I could say I'm sorry, but I don't feel sorry is the problem.
Well, do you know why she feels the way she does? I'm kind of losing a connection.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I haven't yet, mainly because I still see the anger, and I don't want to have a discussion when there's anger present.
Fair point. She may also be looking for you to communicate and find out what's bothering her, because we can't guess. We're not mind readers. Just sit down and say, listen, I obviously I've done something to upset you. I really want to learn what happened that day, that morning, that got you upset. What did I do? What did I say? Whatever it might be that got you to that place. I want to be able to resolve this and come up with a solution, because if I did do something, I don't want to repeat it again. So can we sit and have a conversation about it? And if you come in and, again, to like Josh's point, not being prideful, I didn't do anything wrong. That's really starting on the wrong foot in her eyes, because it's like, wait a minute, you did. Right, wrong, or different, it really doesn't come down to who's right or wrong. It's figuring out what got that other person to that place. And it could be a complete misunderstanding, but until you walk through and get to that point, my wife and I went through something similar, and she didn't know that this was going on. And that's just what you do. You just figure it out and be like, oh, and if I did, you know what? I didn't even realize I had done that. I apologize. I'm sorry. I will work on that. Is this something I've done in the past? I want to work on that. And again, if it's just a misunderstanding, oh, then it comes to light and you guys can move on from it, rather than going through the last couple of days in a hothouse because nobody really knows what took place, but someone's upset and someone's angry, someone's misunderstanding. And until you guys sit and resolve it, it's just going to continue to fester.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even
Or
things. Yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
Sorry. Oh, I was just gonna say humans, women, men, but women love validation, So like no matter who's right or wrong, you could be, I'm wrong when I'm right all the time. But the only way to avoid the conflict and grinding the gears is to make sure that even though in your mind you're right the way you feel, that you understand how your wife feels and why she feels that way. And a lot of people bottle it up until it becomes an explosion. So what you did at that very moment might not be the exact issue. That was just the spark on the fumes.
Yep.
So when my wife and I get into that moment where we're just clashing and we're not gonna solve it in a healthy way, it takes until things calm down and for us to hear what each other has to say with validation behind it, as opposed to contradiction and arguing, and like a lot of times you'll argue face to face and you're more concerned with what you're saying as a rebuttal next than what is actually coming out of your wife's mouth, and validation, man. You can never go wrong with validation, regardless of how right you are or how wrong you are. If you hear what she says and you understand it and you let her know that you understand how she feels and you respect it, it normally heals a lot.
Yeah,
That's
and
I
that's
just
a valid
wanted to chime
point.
in on that.
Yeah, validation's key.
Yeah. Proverbs
Right.
18:2. A fool does not delight in understanding, but only in airing his opinions. That basically encourages listening before speaking to avoid misunderstandings. And that's the whole communication side of it, is to have an understanding of why someone is feeling the way they're feeling and how do we resolve it.
Yeah, and that's the problem I'm facing is haven't seen how to resolve it without anger being in the mix and just calmness in the conversation. If that makes sense.
You can bring that, so you can start out having a non-defensive, I did nothing wrong approach and be like, I'd like to talk to you about this. I know something, I either said something or did something, and I'm trying to understand what took place so I can figure out what went wrong. So if, that I don't repeat what took place. I want to understand what happened. Can you share with me so I know? Because I don't want us to continue to go through this. It's not fun. Let's try to resolve this. Can we resolve this together?
So one thing I've learned with my wife is my feelings and my emotions are completely different than my wife's. So it's like, just because she feels the type of way about something or she has an emotion about something doesn't make it invalid just because I don't agree. We're completely different. We're not equal. We're not the same. God designed us completely different. And so in those moments, like, yeah, it's really good. It's like, come in and say, hey, like Tom just said. But let's say you get to the end and you still don't agree. It's like, okay, but her emotions are valid. They may not make sense to you, but her emotions are her emotions. Her feelings are her feelings. And they're still valid. We can't invalidate those. So then we're going back to scripture. It's like we're called to submit. That's it. And so it's like, you know what? In the back of my head, I don't necessarily agree, but what I do know is I love you. I respect you. And I want to build you up, right? Ephesians 5 calls us to be the head of our wives. And we talked about that weeks ago, to build up our wives, to lead them, to guide them, to build them up. So I'm going to build her up and say, I'm sorry. I am sorry for what I did. Build her up, because her emotions and feelings are valid. And I speak from experience. Even if I don't agree in that moment, it's like, you know what, I'm still going to apologize because that's what she needs to build her back up.
Yeah. Two points. Kevin made some really good points on what he said. And the other thing too is to also, I've learned from personal experiences, not to just blanket apologize, because if all of a sudden I get called out, well, what are you apologizing for? Well, if I don't know and don't have an understanding what took place, I may be missing the mark all the way around. I may have, because if I have no idea, what am I apologizing about? And it's not a right or wrong thing. It's now having an understanding. Oh, I didn't realize what I said impacted you in that way, or what I did impact you. I'm really sorry about that. I apologize for this, and acknowledging the situation and then apologizing for it, as opposed to apologizing. Because there's a situation that if I apologize and my wife calls me out and says, what are you apologizing for? I'm like, I don't know. Now that just magnifies the problem even more, because now you have no idea what took place. You don't even know why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. It's like, okay, back to Kevin, what he said is acknowledging and validating why they feel the way they feel.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, just two more things on that. One, I always check the calendar if I don't understand why she's mad. Make sure I didn't miss anything silly, like an anniversary or something. And two, like it's always I this, I that. Like you don't want to like put it on her, well, you're acting like this, or you're doing this, or try to always do in the I form.
Yeah, don't deflect.
Correct.
Yeah, it's
That's
easy to
that's
fall
it, man.
in that trap.
Great point.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah, man. And that's always gonna happen. This stuff. I mean, it's always a few times a year where we really have to figure it out, and normally we come out a lot stronger each time.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah. What was the growth from it?
Yeah, and we've been awesome recently, and it's just this banana peel, I'll call it, is just came about. I'm like, at the time, after having the conversation, not knowing what to do, because we've been good. Now it's this banana peel that came out of nowhere, and just trying to find a conflict resolution in the matter. But
You
I
have the
appreciate it.
tools. Yeah, you have the tools. It's just utilizing the tools that are at your disposal to work through it. The first key part is communication, to find out what's going on, so that now we can address the situation and be able to get past it. Because now you're sitting there looking at, well, we were in such a good spot. How did we get here? What happened in a moment? What happened? And you can get back to that spot very easily. It's just addressing the pink elephant in the middle of the room.
Yeah. That is true.
And you know, and this is what God showed me also, is ask him for wisdom. Yeah, ask him for the wisdom and the right things to say. And in some cases, some saying nothing might be the right thing, is just taking the opportunity to sit and listen to what your wife has to say, let her do the speaking, and then acknowledge what she said, and then work through what the resolution might be to that.
Yeah, and I did that last night. I was like, where do I go from here? And I haven't really received anything prior to our meeting, so I'm just trying to be patient with the matter.
Okay.
So, but I appreciate the key point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I sent a podcast too. If you're out and about today and you're in the car, it looks like, go into the Iron Sharpens Iron room. And if you want to listen to that podcast, I think it's a really good podcast I was listening to today. That's actually right on this topic. I think it may help, because he had a good couple discussion points around, conflicts with our spouses, and how do we, resolve those conflicts. Yeah, so it'd be a good listen. Yeah, he's a great speaker. He's a great pastor, and I think it'll be good.
They won't resolve
Actually
themselves on
seen
their own.
bits of- So I'll be a good listening tool while I'm on the treadmill here in a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.